Hi everyone, welcome to the Spring Framework Bootcamp. In this video, we are going to build the flight booking application from scratch. Okay, that's why you can see I already opened the official flight booking website. Fine, because we are going to book a flight to know the internal implementation, right? You should know how the application is working internally, how the actual application is working internally. Then only you can build your own flight booking application. Fine, that's why I told you it's a most crucial and most important video, because in this video I'll make you understand, I'll make you master each and every terminologies: web server, web application, controller, service, repository, model, database, everything. So please be focused, okay, and stay with me. Fine, let's start the video. And yes, before starting the video, please make sure you'll subscribe my channel or like it. Okay, fine. So let's start the video. So let's start the video by booking a flight. Okay, let's book a flight. So let's book a flight from uh, Los Angeles, okay, to Stockholm. Stockholm, okay. Um, 24th, fine, and search. Now it's searching. Okay, it is searching. It is searching. Fine. So yeah, these are the results. Okay, 1000, $1.9, 1.9k, 2.1k, 2.1k. So these are the flight results from Los Angeles to the Stockholm. Is this page a hard coded or dynamically generated? Tell me, is this page a hard coded or dynamically generated? Dynamically generated based on user's action. See, mind my words. Hard coded, okay, dynamically generated, based on user's action. So based on user action, I'm getting these results. So overall, we can think in that way that okay, a user came, I'm the user, a user came and I want to see all the flights from Los Angeles to Stockholm. Okay, I click on the search button. Okay, suppose I'm getting the list of data, I'm getting the list of these flights. Okay, these flights. Okay, I'm getting a list of these flights, and the list are placed in a page, dynamic page, JSP HTML page, and that HTML page is returned as a response. Returned as a response. The page is returned as a response. Okay, and I'm seeing these results in a web browser. Get my point? Overall, we can think in that way. Fine. What's happening in the backend? I'm there for you. Okay. So the very first definition is web application. Okay, a website where HTML pages are generated dynami dynamically. Okay, is known as web application. See, I told you I'll make you understand each and every terminologies. Okay, and then we'll go till we finish building our flight booking application. Okay, so that after this application you can build and you can think in that way, like you can build any application: flight booking, library management, school management, any application. Okay, fine. So what is web application? A website where HTML pages are generated dynamically. Okay, this is a web application. Fine. Now let's go deep dive, like what's happening in the backend. Okay, now I'm going to explain you the internal working, like how it's working at the backend side. Fine. So please be focused, concentrate here and keep your phone on silent. Fine. Okay. This is my web browser. This is my web browser. Okay, this is my web browser. And this is my web app. Okay, flight booking web application, flight booking web application. Now I want to search from Los Angeles to Stockholm. I want to see all the flights from Los Angeles to the Stockholm, and here is my search button. Now when user clicks on the search button, a request will go a request will go to the web server. Okay, to the web server. Fine, a request will go to the web server. Now web server will contact to the database. Web server will contact to the database. Okay, by applying suitable filters. Mind my words, by applying suitable filter. What filters? What filter? Filter number 1. You want to see all the flights from Los Angeles to the Stockholm. Filter number 2. On which date? Filter number 3. Class, economic class, business class, first class, or what? Okay, so these are the filters. Okay, you'll see when we build the application, we'll take care of all these filters. Okay, there's a specific layer for that. Okay, fine. So web server will contact to the database by applying filters and trying to fetch all the list, all the data, all the flights. Okay, from Los Angeles to the Stockholm. So in response, web server is receiving the data. Web server getting the data. Okay, fine. Now web server will send the response to the web browser in the form of HTML pages. Yeah, this is what it's happening at the backend. You can see here I'm getting all the list, I'm getting all the data from the database, and web server is giving me the response, this in the form of HTML pages. Okay, when I click on some other date, when I click on some, I want to see all the flight from Los Angeles to Stockholm, date 29. Okay, 29 October. Fine. Now when I click on the search button, a web browser sending the request to the web server. Okay, now web server will contact to the database and trying to fetch all the results which suits this filter, these filter 29th October returning 30 October, and then get all the data in the form of list or whatever, in the form of list. Simple, get all the data in the form of list. Okay, and then web server is showing the client, we user, the response in the web browser in the form of pages. Okay, when I click on the search button, so see it is searching. Oh, it is contacting, the backend process is going on, and then it will give me the results. These are the results. Okay, there are only 2 results. Fine. Now this is okay, this is fine, we got it. Okay, the overall. Now you'll ask me, can you tell me what's happening here? Let me put my red pen. What's happening here? Here. Okay, in the web server, what's happening? Okay, so to know what's happening here, you should know code flow. Okay, so now let me tell you the code flow. Okay, our second most important topic of this video. Fine. Open your notebook and write heading code flow. Fine. Just see carefully. Here is our web browser. Okay, here is our web browser. Okay, and this is our web app. Fine. So this is what? This is the source, this is the destination, and here is the search button. Okay, same thing. Fine. Now suppose user wants to see all the flights from Los Angeles to the Stockholm. Okay, so in the source he'll select Los Angeles, in the destination he'll select Stockholm, and then date, and then which class, and then click on the search button. Okay, once user click on the search button, a a request hits to the controller. Okay, a request hits to the controller. What is controller? Okay, what is the purpose of controller? I'll tell you later. First, just see. Okay, when user clicks on the search button, a request will hit to the controller. Nothing but a class. Okay, it's nothing but a class. Fine. Now, controller send the request. Controller send the request to the service layer. It is a controller layer, it is a service layer. Controller will send the request to the service layer. What is the purpose of service layer? I told you. Filter. The purpose of service layer to do the backend operations. Okay, to do the backend operations. Suppose from the database, I am getting all the flight list, but user wants to see only the flight list from Los Angeles to the Stockholm. So I'll filter it. Okay, on which date, which class, handle the exceptions. So all the backend operation done in the service class. Okay, now from the service class, from the service layer, the request will go to the repository layer. Repository layer. Okay, now if you know a little bit about GitHub, okay, so in that we'll create a repositories. For what? To save our files, to save our data, to save our data. That means repository will contact to the database. Database. Okay, and trying to fetch the data. Trying to fetch the data. Now database will give me the flights data as a response in the form of list. In the form of list. Okay, simple. Database will as a response give me the flights data, okay, in the form of list. So here I am getting the list of all the flights from Los Angeles to the Stockholm, what user searched for. Okay, similarly repository is sending back the same response to the service layer. Okay, and we'll apply some backend operations like handling the exception or whatever. Okay, now service layer is sending back that list. I'm getting the list here, sending back that list here in the controller. Now we can't send the Java list to the web browser. Okay, user wants to see a view, a page, HTML page. So then we'll use a model interface. Okay, to send this Java list, to send the list, what we are getting here, list, okay, to our view layer. Suppose there is some success page, success.jsp. Okay, so when user come and suppose this page is search.jsp. So in the search page, user search the flight. Okay, request go to the controller, then service, then repository contacted database. Database will give me the flight data in the form of list. Okay, then repository send back as a response to the service layer. Will apply some backend operation and then do controller layer. Now in the controller layer, model takes that list. This model takes that list and send that list to the view layer. It is HTML, okay, to the view layer, and will display the list that okay, LA to Stockholm, this LA to Stockholm, this. okay, to the view layer. And now this view layer, and now let me put the red pen, okay, and now this view layer we will return success. Okay, this view layer, the success view layer, see, list came to the controller. Now we have, we need to pass the list to the view, to the HTML. We have passed it through model. Now only one thing remaining, send that page view to the web browser. That is the job of controller. Final. So controller will return the success page as a response to the web browser, and we'll see complete page that okay, this is a .com/success and these are the flights. Are you with me? Got all the concept? Okay, are you with me or not? Tell me. If you are with me, then please subscribe, like and share. Okay, now this is what the code flow, what's happening in the backend. Now the last thing is, the most important thing is what we're gonna do, how we'll implement step by step. Okay, just give me 5 minutes, just give me 5 minutes, and I guarantee if you are a beginner, also, then you can itself implement this flight booking application code without watching my video further. Just give me 5 minutes. Okay, fine. Okay, let's see the next and most important thing. Okay, so uh, we will okay, we will so what we're gonna do is, at first we'll create a search.jsp page. In that we'll create two input field, simple. One is source, one is destination, and there is one search button. Okay, simple HTML. Fine. Now we'll create a class. A class that is a controller class. We'll kept this class name as flight controller. Okay, fine. Now we'll create another class, that is the service class, our service layer. We'll name it as a flight service. Okay, then see, same thing we have to follow. I told you what's happening in the backend. Same thing we are following. What are these? These are the classes, right? And each class has its own job to do. Fine. Contacting to the database, performing backend operation. Okay, returning the view layer. See, its own operation. There is no any unnecessary class added, unnecessary layer added. Okay, fine. So now we'll create a repository. Okay, you'll name it as a flight repository. Now we'll not create a database. Okay, at first, that's our second part. At first we'll store our flights into some flight list in the form of hash map or array list. Yeah, we can store. So at first, because I want you to take from basics, okay, and then we'll go to the database. Okay, so we'll create a flight list class. Okay, in that we'll create a list. Okay, and in that list we'll have all the flight data. Okay, all the flights. So we'll use the hash map or list. Fine. Okay, and then our next part will remove this and we'll take the database, actual database, MySQL, SQL Server or whatever. Fine. Now one more thing we'll create, that is our flight class. Yeah, flight class. Okay, in that class, string flight number. Okay, you can take any number. String source. Okay, and string destination. Fine. And one more thing, that is a final result, that is our success.jsp. Okay, where we'll show all the flight details what user wanted. Okay, now let me tell you the final flow. Okay, final flow. After that, you itself will code. Okay, these are just the classes. You can easily code. Fine. The final flow is user came and user right here Los Angeles to Stockholm. Okay, user clicked on the search button. When user click on the search button, the request will go to the controller class. Okay, the controller class send the request to the service class. Service class send the request to the repository. Repository will contact our flight list class. Okay, and get all the list. Get all the list. Okay, get the list. Okay, all the flight list. We have, see, in the flight list class we have created a list. In that list we have hard coded some flight data. Okay, for now we'll hard code the flight data. Okay, later we'll use the database and then we'll see how we create the flight data also. We'll add one API, create flight data for authority, for admin. For currently we'll just add these flight data. This flight data in the flight list. Okay, and then we are getting the complete list. Fine, as a response. Now from here, as a response, we are getting the same flight list, flight list, and we'll filter it out. We'll filter it out by passing the source and destination here. Okay, so now from here I'm getting the response and getting the list, but this list contains only those flights from LA to Stockholm. Okay, get a point. See here, here in the repository I'm getting the complete list. Fine, I'll auto wire this, and there's one method, get list. So I'm returning the list. Simple. Okay, now from the repository, same thing, I'll auto wire repository in the service layer and I'm getting complete list, complete flight list. Okay, later I told you we'll use the database, so we'll use the queries. Fine, for now let's do this. Okay, that's the second part. Third part, there are 4 parts of flight booking. Okay, I want you to take from basics. Fine, so here I'm getting the list, here I'm getting the list, and what the job of service layer? To filter it out. Okay, so here we will filter all the flights. Okay, and send only those flights from LA to Stockholm. Fine, we'll add 10 to 12 flights. LA to Stockholm, Texas, Dallas, Miami, Florida, Las Vegas, all the flights. Okay, but you can see here we are getting only those flights from LA to Stockholm. Okay, now we'll use the model interface. Okay, and send the data to the JSP. Okay, and finally controller will return this JSP file. Return the search.jsp. Like this JSP file, controller will return, and as a response. Simple. Okay, now tell me, can you build it? Because see, we have not used the database. Okay, not any queries. Fine, not the ways to write the queries. Fine, there is no further extra method. See how basic I just want you to create it. Okay, now yeah, I know if you are a beginner then you can't create like how to send the data from model to the view. Leave that. 3 classes, 1 JSP file, front end, input search button, 1 class, 1 list class, okay, 1 success JSP file. Fine, on click of search button, handle the form, enter the URL pattern and handle here, and then send, and then get back using auto wire dependency injection we've already seen. Completed. Okay, fine. So if you want to complete, then pause the video and try to implement it. Otherwise, let's continue the video and let's implement the complete code. Okay, fine. Now first let me set up my flight booking application project. Okay, so let me go to my browser, go to your favorite browser and type Spring Initializer. Okay, click here, and yeah, so here give your project name. Let me give my flight booking application. Okay, and then let me add the dependency, web dependency. Fine, that's all. Okay, rest all dependency will add them externally. Fine. There are two more dependency, Lombok API and developer tools. Okay, so for that two dependency, I'll create a separate video, a short video for that. Fine. Okay, for now, Spring Web is fine. Generate it. So it will give me a zip file. Let me save it. Okay, save, and zip file got generated. Fine. Let me go there. Okay, and let me extract it, extract all, extracted. Fine. Now let me go to my Eclipse, let me import it, import the file, import Maven, existing Maven project, browse, and so today, yeah, this is the application, and select folder, finish. So flight booking application done. Now what the very first thing, let's create first flight class. Okay, so let me create a package, let me create a package. Okay, let me give it name as a entity. Okay, and let me create a class, flight class. Okay, in that I want three things: private string flight number. Okay, flight number. Fine. Private string source. Okay, and then private string destination. Okay, now let's generate constructor and getters and setters. So generate constructor. Okay, fine, and then done. Okay, I'll tell you after this video we'll use the Lombok API. Fine, you don't need to generate the constructor and setter getter in this way. Fine, we'll just add one annotation, add data, add no R constructor, add all R constructor, and it will take care. Fine, Spring will take care. Okay, so for that I'll create a separate video. Fine, don't worry. Okay, now what the next thing? The next thing is let's create a search.jsp. Fine, from that we'll send the request and one by one we'll create our layer. Okay, so search.jsp. So first we need to configure the JSP. How to configure? I already created one video, a Spring MVC setup video. In that I told you each and every step how to configure JSP. Fine. So main layer, in the main let me create one more folder, that is web app. Okay, in the web app let me create one more folder, that is web.inf. Okay, in the web.inf let me create one more folder, that is the views. Okay, in the views let me create my JSP file. First is search.jsp. Okay, got it. And in the src main resources also I need to do the configuration. So let me first delete the application.properties, I don't need it. Let me create a YAML file, application.yml. Okay, in that let me zoom it, Spring MVC view prefix web inf and views. I need to tell Spring, I need to inform Spring the location of JSP files. Web.inf views, okay, this is the prefix, web.inf views, and then search and then .jsp. So suffix is .jsp. Okay, so it become a complete address. Fine. Done. Configuration done. Now the next step. Let me create a form. Okay. HTML head title. Search the flights. Okay. Now here form. There are two attributes we require: action and method. Okay. Label for first field is source. Okay. Second field, it's a label, so we need to just input type should be the text only. Okay, text, and the name should be the source. Okay, done. Same thing for destination. So here destination, okay, and destination. Okay, done. Now one submit button, button button, type equals submit, okay, and submit. Done. Our job is done. Form is created. Search, source, destination, search. Next thing, let's create a controller layer. Okay, so let me create first controller package. So package dot controller. Okay, in that let me create controller file class. Okay, so flight controller. Okay, flight controller. Fine, I'll add the annotation controller. Okay, because controller is used to handle the request. Okay, a specific purpose job. Fine, we'll see later what we're gonna implement in this. Fine, first let's create a skeleton. Next thing, service. Okay, so let me create the service package first. Service package, yeah, here it is, service package, and in that let me create a class flight service. Okay, and add one annotation, that is service. Okay, fine. So in the service class we'll perform all our backend operations. Okay, backend operation, business logic. Fine. Next thing is, let's create a repository. So let me create another package that is a repository. Okay, then class flight repository. Okay, done. Fine. Next thing is our flight list. See, I have implemented flight list class. We are using flight list, not the database initially, because there are some beginners. Okay, there are some beginners. At first I'm gonna show you that we are storing our data in the list. Okay, so for the new beginners, database is somewhat tricky. Okay, I know very well that how and where and when I need to implement the database, actual database. Okay, after this I need to just make a base. Okay, this is the database and this is what, and now we are using the database and the JPA repository or CRUD repository. And if you can do it, then database is easily, it's just a piece of cake. Fine. So next thing is flight list class. Okay, so let me create another package. Let me give it as a database. Okay, in that let me create one interface. flight list, flight list interface. Okay, flight list interface. Yeah, let me get one method, that is list of what, flight. Okay, get all flights. Done. Let me create a class in that. So class simple flight list. Okay, a class simple flight list which is implementing flight list. Okay, it should override. Fine. Now, okay, flight list. Okay, so L is capital. Let me make it small. Rename it. Okay, done. Now what I'm gonna do is, let me create a list of flight. Okay, list of flight equals new array list. Done. Now using the no args constructor, simple flight list. Okay, let me add the items, add the flight in the list of flight, so we'll add the item, add, and what we need to add, we need to add the flight. List is a type of flight, so it needs the flight object, new flight, and flight contains three data. What? Flight contains flight number, source, destination. Okay, and all are of string type. Okay, same thing, new flight, and let's suppose FL001, FL001, and LA to Stockholm. Okay, added one flight, okay, done. Okay, so these are all the flights. Fine, these are all the flights. We'll just hard code it. Okay, fine. Okay, we'll just hard code it. Later we'll add using our own flight, like we'll use complete database CRUD operation, create, read, update, delete. Okay, for now just simple. Okay, now LA to Stockholm. Okay, LA to Stockholm, fine, there are two flights. Then LA to Texas, fine, and then Delhi to Bengaluru. Okay, Sydney, Sydney. Okay, and Wales, fine. Okay, and Michigan. Okay, Wisconsin. Okay, and Dallas, fine. New York, and why New York? Okay, then let me Bengaluru as a source. Okay, fine. So next thing is Pune. Okay, and the last thing is Brisbane. Okay, and Stockholm, Texas, Bengaluru. Okay, so here what are cities? I'm not getting. Okay, Miami, fine. Cambridge. Okay, Pune, Delhi as a destination. Indore. Okay, Miami done. LA. Okay, Dallas to LA. New York to LA. Bangalore to Las Vegas. Okay, and then uh, Pune to Hyderabad. Okay, and then last Brisbane to mm, where is that? Okay, Wales. Fine. So these are all the flights. Okay, let me change the flight number. All should be the unique flight. 3 FL004 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. Okay, so these all are the flight number. Okay, unique flights. All are the unique flights. Fine. Okay, Adelaide. Done. Now this is one method. This dot list of flight. Okay, we are returning this. Now the reverse process as a response. This we have done till here. Till here we have done. Now repository want the list. Repository want the list from the database as a response. Okay, in here in the flight list we have already one method. This method which will give me the list. So repository wants to call this method. How to call this method? First I need the object, that means the bean. So I will auto wire it. I will auto wire it. Okay, so that I will get the list here, complete list. Fine. After that, when we use database, actual database, we'll use the queries. Okay, SQL queries. Fine. Okay. So here in the repository need this list. That means need to access this method. To access this method, we will get the object using AutoWire. So we need to add the component here. Okay, IOC. Fine. Where is my repository? Here is my repository. Now in the repository, I will AutoWire the flight list. Flight list. Flight list and auto wired. Okay, now what else remaining? Let's create a class public returning the list of flight get all list. Okay, here return flight list. Okay, and the method is get all flights. Done. In the repository okay, return. Done. Okay, fine. Now here in the repository I am getting all the list. Now in the service layer I need to send that list, and from service layer we need to filter it out according to the source and destination what user have entered it. So I need the source and destination in the service class. Fine. So first let me take that list in the service. Where is my service? This is my service. So to take the list, here is a flight repository. Now I need to get the access to this method. Okay, so that I will return this complete list. To access this method, I need to auto wire this. Okay, so to auto wire, I need to add the component. Okay, done. Later we'll replace this repository with the CRUD repository. Okay, or JPA repository. Then, so there is no need to create a class, just a interface, and Spring will do all the thing. Hibernate will do all the thing. Okay, Hibernate. So in the flight repository, in the flight service, let me create a flight repository. Let me auto wire it. Auto wire, so that I'll get a flight repository object bean object same, and then on this object I will call that method get all flight, so that I'll get all the flight list. Here I will create list flight because I need to send the list to the controller, and get all flights from source to destination. Okay, and here I want source and destination. Okay, flight done. Let me zoom, let me just enlarge it. Yeah, so here I've created a method which is returning the list of flight and get all flight from source to destination, and here I want as an argument source and destination, so that now here I'm getting all the flight list. From here I need to filter it out. Okay, so how to filter it out? First let me get the list. Flight repository dot get, what is the method name? Get all list. Get flight list. Okay, get all flight list. Okay, so here I'm getting the list. I got the complete list of flight. Now dot stream. Okay, dot filter. Fine. Now item. Okay, so here in item I'm getting 111 flight. Flight, simple, yeah. So in the item I'm getting 111 flight. 11 flight. Okay, 11 flight. Where is my service? Yeah, here in the item. Okay, now what I need to check? I need to check, okay, these are all the flight. Okay, I'm getting 111 flight. Check the source and destination matches with the user source and user destination. This is the source destination I'm getting in the argument what user entered. Okay, so item dot get source, because see, in item I'm getting 111 flight, a flight, the flight class we have added, the flight class. Okay, so in item we are getting, and we've used the getter setter. So item, that is the flight, dot get source and get destination. Simple. Get source dot equals ignore case. Okay, get source and which is equals to the user entered source. The user entered source. Okay, and item dot get destination dot equals ignore case equals destination. Fine. Dot collect collectors dot to list. Okay, because I want to return it in a form of list. So let me format it. Yeah, let me also yeah. Now see here, flight list dot get all flight list. I'm getting the list of flight. Here I'm filtering it out. Okay, item, in item I'm getting 11 flight. Consider it as a flight class. So in that, in 11 item I'm checking that I want to get the source using the getter and setter I used in the flight class, which is equals to the source, user entered source, and the flight destination equals to the user entered destination. Fine. Collect and then return as a to list. So return. Okay, return. Done. Okay, so I have filtered it out. I have filtered it out from all list to the user entered source and list. Suppose user entered LA to Stockholm, so only these two flights got returned, FL001 and FL002. Fine, rest all are different. Now the remaining thing is here done. Now let's send the response, the flight list, filtered flight list to the controller. Okay, so here is my controller. Okay, now let me create one class, string. Why string? Let me tell you just in coming minutes. Get search search get results. Okay, get flight results, get search result, get search flight result. Fine. And here, okay, let me now see what I want here. I want the filtered list which I have filtered in service class, this list. So I want to access this method, so I need to auto wire the flight service. Fine. Okay, then no need to add the add component, add service will take care all. So I need to auto wire the flight service. Okay, auto wired. Fine. Now from the flight service, list of flight, search flight, okay, equals to flight service. I got the bean. Then get all flight from source to destination, the method which we created here. Now I want here source and destination, right? Here in the get all flight, I want the source and destination to pass in the service. Okay, so how to get the source and destination? In the view we have created, this is the view. When we start our application, so at first this page will load search.jsp. In this page, source input field and destination input field. Okay, user enter source LA, destination Stockholm, and click on the submit. When click on the submit, the source and destination I want in my controller. Where is the controller? Here. I want in my controller. How to get? There is one annotation. Add request param. Add request param. In the braces write the name. Okay, basic. In the braces write the name. Source. Okay, we want the source, so input type source name. Okay, and as a string, so source. Similarly, add request param. Okay, now I want the destination, so JSP destination input type destination name, flight controller, I want it as a string, so destination. Fine. So now here in this method I will get source and destination, pass it here, source and destination. Done. Okay, now next thing is when user click on the search button, okay, it should show a success page. Okay, in the success page all the data, all the flight data. Okay, so we need to enter here, we need to enter the success URL, like where it should go. Okay, in the action attribute. Okay, where we want our form data. Okay, on which URL we want to send our form data, on which URL. I told you in the previous video, Spring MVC setup. On click of submit button, the job of action attribute is to is where our form data, okay, to go. Okay, on which URL our form data we need to send. So we need to enter here a URL. What URL? Any URL you write flight search results. Okay, and in the method we need to write get post. There are different method, so we need to write the post. See, currently I'm going to tell you from detail in the next coming videos what is get, post, put, delete. Okay, currently post means we are sending our data to the server. Okay, get means we are getting our data. Okay, so here we are sending our data. We are enter the source, destination, and click on the search button, and we are sending our data to the web server. Fine. So post. Don't worry about get, post. I'm gonna explain you from detail. Okay. Now On click of some search button, we want that this method should execute. This controller, in the controller, this method. Okay, this method. So that we'll get a filtered list. Yeah, so we need to handle this URL pattern on this method. Copy it, and there's one annotation, request mapping value equals this URL, same URL. Okay, this URL, and method equals request method dot post. Okay, because we have used the, let me import it. Okay, and post. Fine, because you use the post request. Okay, fine. Later we'll eliminate this complete thing with a post mapping annotation. Simple when we study the rest. Okay, fine. And then done this all. Okay, now here I'm getting my list, filtered list. The next thing is where is it? The next thing here I'm getting the list. Next thing, let me use the model interface and transfer my list, Java list, to the success JSP, success view. Okay, let's take a model, create a JSP, send the list using model to the JSP, and then return this success JSP to the browser. Simple. See how detailed I have explained you. Okay, so please, if you like the video, then please subscribe. Okay, now let me use the model. So in the parameter model, okay, see, you need to import the model interface, model. Okay, now here we need to model dot, there is one method, add attribute. Okay, we need to add the attributes what we need to send to the view in the key value pair. So key is list of searched flights. Okay, this is the key, and value is this list. Done. Fine. Now we have added the list in the attribute. Fine, that means we can fetch it in the JSP file. Okay, so now the next thing is let me create a success.jsp so that we can fetch from model, we can fetch the list, this list. Okay, so in the same views, create one more success.jsp. Okay, now we very well know that in JSP file we can write HTML and Java coding. HTML is okay. We have created the search JSP. How to write Java coding? Okay, be focused here, concentrate. What we need to do is we need to get the data of the list. Okay, in the model we have already added the attribute. Okay, so from this we can fetch using the key. Okay, how? Let's see. First, let me create a simple skeleton of HTML. Head, head, title, flight, results. Done. Body. Okay, now just see carefully how to write the Java in JSP. Angle bracket open, percentage. Okay, percentage, close angle bracket. In that you can write the Java. What you need the list. See here, just like we used to import in Java class, this is the syntax to import. Angle bracket, add page, import, and java.util.list. Okay, package name. So what we want, list of flight, imported. Okay, list of flight equals now request dot get attribute. See here, where is that controller? In the model we have added the attribute. Now in the JSP file, in the view layer, we will get the attribute using this key value, the key. So here key, okay, and then typecast it. So typecast it list of flight. Okay, done. Now here using this key I am getting the attribute. The attribute is the flight list. Okay, now I need to show it. See, from the Java I can show it to the console using SOP statement, system.out.print. How to show in the browser? To show in the browser I need to write the front end, h1 tag, h2 tag, or table, whatever. Fine. See here now. We'll use the for each loop. Yeah, because we need to just show one item. For each loop. Okay. How to write the Java? Okay, in that for, okay, flight item. Okay, flight. Fine. Okay, I'm not gonna teach you for each loop. Now bracket open. Okay, I come out of the bracket, angle bracket. In the angle bracket we can write the Java. Here after the Java bracket I can write the HTML coding. Okay, here in this Java, in this the angle bracket, I can write the Java. I have initiated the for loop which is not closed, it is opened only. Now I have come out of this bracket. Okay, that means the Java bracket. So here I can write the HTML coding h1, okay, which is considered inside this for loop, because I have not closed it. I have closed the Java bracket, but for loop is still open. So h1 and the flight number is, okay. Now there is one more syntax, angle bracket percentage and equals, okay, for the Java expression. Okay, I want flight number. So here for loop is open, so I can use this local variable flight dot get. See here, flight number. Okay, done. Same thing, flight source is get source, okay, and flight destination is get destination. And then see, done. Our front end is done. Now let me, only one thing remaining, let me close the for loop. Again, to close the for loop is a Java, so to write the Java I need to, okay, bracket. You can see when I just click here, it is highlighting this bracket. Okay, it is highlighting this bracket. You can see some box. Okay, that means now the for loop is closed, and what I return in the JSP, that is whatever, like HTML or whatever, inside this for loop. Okay, flight dot get number details and closed. Done. Okay, yeah, done. Now only one thing remaining, Okay, to load the JSP we need to add the JSP dependencies. Okay, so we have just added the one Spring Web dependency. So there are two dependency I already told you in my past video, that is Tomcat Jasper and JSTL. So let me go there to my browser, Tomcat Jasper MVN, click here, click here, click here, copied, paste it here. Okay, formatted. Another dependency, we'll use a JSTL also. Okay, JSTL MVN. Okay, go to a browser, MVN JSTL, click 1.2, copy it, paste it here, format it D. Okay, done. Everything is done. Now the one thing remaining is C, added. Okay, the model data, the list data also populate here. Okay, now let controller return this success JSP as a response. Okay, khatam, over. Fine. So return success. Okay, this is the view name. Okay, fine. One more thing we need to do is, let me create one more class, a string get. Okay, search flight, return search. Okay, request mapping. Why? Because see, when I start my application, so I want, when the application load, I want my JSP, okay, to populate on the web browser at first. Okay, so that I haven't written any mapping. Like I don't want to write localhost 8080 slash search flight. Okay, no mapping. That means when I start my application and go to the browser and just type localhost 8080, so at very first it will return the search JSP, search view. Okay, fine. Everything is completed. Let me run the application. How to run? This is Java application. Okay, no error. Tomcat started on port 8080. Okay, now let me go to my browser and localhost 8080. Okay, enter. You can see source and destination, the form we have created. Okay, yeah, this is the actual official website. So source, destination. Okay, it's not that decorated. Okay, because I have not added the CSS. Fine. So I want Los Angeles to the Stockholm. Okay, you can see. So how many flights are from LA to Stockholm? So there are two flights, FL001, FL002. Okay, I don't want all the flight. I only want these two flight, 01, 02, LA to Stockholm. Okay, so destination is Stockholm and source is LA. Okay, now let me click on the search button. See, flight number FL001, flight source is LA, destination is Stockholm. 002, LA and Stockholm. Okay, let me write another destination. What was that? Sydney, right? Let me see that. Wisconsin to Indore. Wisconsin to Indore. Okay. Search. See, there's a one flight FL008 Wisconsin to Indore. FL008, right? So FL008 Wisconsin to Indore. Done. Okay, how you are feeling? If you are feeling good, then please subscribe. Fine. So this is what the a basic project, basic flight booking application. Fine. Now we need to add few more things. We need to add the database. We need to add the first we need to study REST API. Fine. And then REST template, which is most useful for microservices, and then Hibernate. Fine. And then data JPA, Spring Data JPA, and then we'll go forward. Fine. So if you like the video, then please subscribe, share, and thank you.